let's go ahead and talk about this last week's game, week 1 of the 2021 NFL season, where the Rams were able to walk away 1-0 and actually kind of handled business a little bit against the Chicago Bears, which was really good to see because, there was a lot of hype going into this year, and it almost seemed like the hype was being like negated by some fans. Like some fans were like just like trying to cut through that hype and just be like, no, we don't know who Stafford is. Stafford never won a playoff game. And then Stafford comes in, and granted, he did not yet win a playoff game, but he played pretty dang good football, all right? So, and there's times where, I'm not going to sit here and just take the opportunity to just rail on Jared Goff or anything like that. That's not what I'm about here. But there were definitely times where it felt like that if that was Jared Goff, it would have been a sack, would have been maybe a fumble, something like that. And you could just feel, and this is something that I talked about all offseason. I talked about this, that the Rams fans would be able to feel a difference at the quarterback position. And I think that was very real. I said that we would be able to feel it in week 1. The rest of the NFL would feel it a little bit later. Turns out a lot of the rest of the NFL was like, yo, that Matthew Stafford kid, he's pretty good football, all right? He's pretty good at this game. And, kid, he's 3 years older than I am, so I guess I can't call him a kid. I mean no disrespect when I say kid, by the way, ever. I know I got some comments on that before. I never mean any disrespect to that. But Matthew Stafford comes in, and he plays some pretty good football. I also want to take a little bit of credit here because I had my score prediction. I locked it in at 34-13. Final score of the real game, 34-14. So I only discredited the Bears just a skosh, just a touch undersold the Bears, and they were able to put up 14 points. So I did not win a jersey. Pretty sad about it, but hey, it's all good because the Rams still walked away with a big fat W. And you know what? Because this season is an exciting one. We feel really good going into the 2021 season. We are bringing back the game badge. Bring up the screen for you YouTube viewers. For you audio listeners, just picture a picture of Matthew Stafford in front of his sheriff badge because we are giving back game badges. We are bringing it back. In week 1, I don't think there's any argument here. Game badge belongs to quarterback Matthew Stafford. In his first game as an LA Ram, put up 321 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. He did not turn the ball over at all. Had that 1 sack, and it kind of looked like on that 1 sack, he could have dumped it off to Hendo. I know that's like something I'm sure a lot of us saw. That's like, Henderson's right there, man. Just dump it. He also had Kupp running deep, and it was like almost open right when he was getting sacked. So I think he wanted to hit that deep ball, but so he avoided the check down in hopes that he could maybe get that deep ball out there. But it ended up in a sack. So that's like the one play on Stafford that I was like, okay, he probably should have just taken it. Like he made the wrong decision. Just take the check down at that point. Pressure was coming, but I'm not going to try to discredit this guy's game at all because he had a career high in yards per attempt at 12.3, which is amazing, by the way. Some of the best quarterbacks in the NFL usually end the season about 9, pushing 10 maybe. That's a very strong number. He also had a career high in quarterback rating with 156.1, the highest passer rating of his NFL career. He was drafted number 1 overall in the 2009 draft. So it's been quite a while. He comes into the Rams, and week 1, he's just kicking butt cheeks, all right? He played out of his mind. He played just great. And like I said, he just felt different. Like it feels, you could feel his experience out there. You could feel that he just had a better command of the offense. You could feel that he felt the pressure. He felt when his guys were going to be open. He just made some great plays. He knows when to back up. He knows when to step up in the pocket. He knows when to roll out. That deep pass, the first touchdown pass of his Rams career to Van Jefferson. He did a left rollout, which is something I think we saw. We could probably count single-digit times where we saw that in Detroit when he was with the Lions. So, it's opening up a lot of things. And this is basically me explaining again that the Matthew Stafford that we saw in Detroit is not the Matthew Stafford we will see in Los Angeles. And I think that we've already seen some evidence of that. So Matthew Stafford, he is the recipient of the first game badge of the season from Rams Showcase here, and Sheriff Joe Baggs gets the game badge. But also, not only that, he also wins NFC Offensive Player of the Week for his 20 completions on his 26 attempts. Absolutely amazing. And I'll be honest with you guys, I know there's a lot of people out there that were on the side of Stafford being like, I don't know, guys. He never did this. He never did this. He never, like, whatever. have opinions, whatever you want to have your opinions on. It doesn't matter to me. You're allowed to have your opinions. That's I'm not here to tell you you're wrong for having opinions. All I'm here to say is that why did all of those people disappear so fast? They're all gone, man. Where did you go? Where did all those people go that were saying that Matthew Stafford sucks? He's got to prove this. He's got to prove this to you. Who the heck are you? He needs to prove it to, though. I don't understand that mindset. What a ridiculous mindset to have, where it's like, Matthew Stafford needs to prove it to me because I can't eat these Doritos and sit on this couch watching this game without knowing that he's gonna get it done. I don't get it. But either way, all those people disappeared, or they're saying it was one game, LOL. I mean, is that what's just gonna continue to happen? It was one season. If he wins MVP, it was one season. It was 5 seasons. He only won 3 Super Bowls. Tom Brady's got whatever. Is that what it's going to be? Or can we just accept that Matthew Stafford looks a lot better in this Rams offense than he ever did in Detroit? That's all. Moving on here. Let's go to Justin Hollins, who I was kind of talking about last week a little bit here and there. I kind of sprinkled him in there, peppered in his name into the podcast for the last couple of weeks because I loved that the coaching staff was so high on Justin Hollins. And you know what? He had an absolutely awesome day. Had 6 solo tackles, 2 assisted tackles, had 2 sacks, and a forced fumble, which, I mean, he was all over the place, man. Justin Hollins was playing great. Seemed like almost at the end of every single play, he was right up in there. He was just out there, man. It was really cool to see. I think Justin Hollins, he was also, he was creating space without, obviously we know that having Aaron Donald and Leonard Floyd on the rush as well helps you out a lot, but it also, he was winning his one-on-ones. So I think this is a guy to watch this year. This could actually be like the Rams' breakout star for this defense, because we already know the superstars. We know Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald are going to come in here and crush some souls. We already know that. But Justin Hollins, he might be one of those guys where it's like, oh, we did not know that he was going to be that good. If he can keep this up and keep getting better, Justin Hollins is going to be a name that all Rams fans know. Most of us already know it, but if you guys are newish or whatever, first of all, welcome. And also, Justin Hollins, he's pretty good at football. Start telling your friends about him, all right? And David Long, he shows up pretty good too. David Long Jr., number 22 at cornerback. He did go out with a cramp, but he looks to be fine. Everything's good to go there. But he had his first career interception, and that was that one tipped by, I believe it was Kenny Young that tipped that ball, and then he picked it off in the end zone, and that was perfect timing because it was like the game started, and the return was good, and then they had a good run, and it's like, oh, man, what has happened? Did we know the game started, defense? Come on. And then we get that interception from David Long, his first career pick. I do see some more coming, and I also, I feel like some of the Rams media outlets have been a little bit harsh on David Long, saying now, because of that game, it's now he can step in for Troy Hill. First of all, you know what? Maybe I think everybody's overreacting to the Troy Hill loss a little bit. Troy Hill's a good football player. Troy Hill's a very good football player, and he did a lot of good things for the LA Rams. But let's not pretend like Troy Hill's not a replaceable character in this defense, all right? John Johnson, that's a much more difficult person to replace, but it looks like Jordan Fuller can be that guy. I don't think he's there at that level quite yet, but I think he can develop into that. And really our biggest loss is Aubrey Pleasant and Joe Barry, as well as Brandon Staley, but it looks like Raheem Morris is doing a heck of a job out there, so I'm not worried about that one at all. But Aubrey Pleasant coaching some DBs, and Joe Barry for the linebacker coach. Obviously, he did not do that good of a job stopping Jameis Winston out for Green Bay. He's now their defensive coordinator, but I do anticipate him getting better. But I heard some comments about that of now because of his game, David Long, he might be able to come in now for Troy Hill. That might be his replacement. What do you mean? It's been his replacement this entire time. David Long was just in line to be that guy. So I think he's now just showing kind of what he can do, and I'm here for it, man. David Long, time to start supporting this guy, right? Tyler Higby on the offensive side at tight end played 100% of the Rams' offensive snaps, and that, honestly, from a tight end, that's bananas to me, all right? I did not expect that. It's one of those things you just kept seeing 89, 89, 89, 89, and I kind of thought back to it, and it's like, yeah, he played all the game, all the snaps. After I always check out the snap counts after the game, and when I saw 100% next to him, it was like, oh, okay. So, I mean, I guess that's my only fantasy advice for you guys. If you don't have Tyler Higby, maybe try to get him, because he plays a lot. I mean, he did have, 5 catches, 68 yards. So he didn't like destroy the stat sheet or anything like that, but he played a damn good game. All right. So Tyler Higby, 100% of the Rams offensive snaps. That's absolutely awesome. And I love it. I love to see it for sure. And David Montgomery for the Chicago Bears, he had 108 rushing yards, which is the most rushing yards by a single person the Rams have given up in quite a while. But that also, it makes sense. I mean, the Rams were running a very light box, and I don't know exactly what the mindset was there, because David Montgomery is obviously a far more a dangerous weapon than quarterback Andy Dalton. So I don't know if the Rams were like, if we're going to lose this game, it's not going to be because of Dalton. Like, it's going to be because of Montgomery. Or if they just kind of knew that, like, hey, Montgomery, we're going to give him some space. We're going to let him kind of go. But once that red zone hits, we're bowed up and we're not going to let him go anywhere. And that's kind of, it really felt like that was the Rams, the bend but don't break. We saw that comment a lot this week. But, you know, I don't think that that's like a bad strategy. Of course, there are some teams that are going to be a little bit more difficult to do that with. You know, the Tampa Bay that's coming up in week 3. Later on with teams like Baltimore, if you leave that much space for Lamar Jackson, that's going to be tough to recover from. So, I mean, with this game, though, I think it's going to be one of those situations where we kind of will see different personalities for the entire scheme of the Rams defense as the season goes on. So this one, I mean, it was a very umbrella defense. Do not let them get behind you. Get everything underneath you. Just come up and make the tackle. We saw some very good tackling in this game from a lot of different players. A lot of players that I haven't necessarily been high on, but we've seen some disruption there. We also did see some missed tackles, but with, you know, the limited training camps and all the limited practices in the offseason, and then none of our starters playing in the preseason games, then it does take sometimes just a little bit to get them a little bit under their legs under them a little bit. We even saw missed tackles from Donald, and that's extremely rare. So if Aaron Donald's missing tackles, we cannot go after somebody like Taylor Rapp for missing a tackle if Aaron Donald's doing it too. We can't just single them out. So they all need to be able to tackle, and no matter what your name is on the back of your jersey, you need to make those tackles. But, you know, Montgomery, he did a pretty good job, but, you know, and it makes me sound like a jerk, but it's almost like with the Rams running like 5-man boxes, it's almost like we let them do it. We were like, all right, Montgomery, you're going to go ahead and you're going to have your game, but Dalton is not going to beat us, and we're going to put up way more points than you guys. So good luck trying to pass on this umbrella defense when you have no idea where the heck Jalen Ramsey's going to be at, by the way, and Aaron Donald's all over the place as well, and your top 2 left tackles go down at some point. So yeah, I mean, we kind of just let them do it. And I know I'm going to sound like a jerk for that, and Bears fans are, of course, going to be like, oh, excuses or whatever. Well, first of all, you guys lost by 20, so let's not say that. And yeah, I think that David Montgomery, I mean, obviously did a heck of a job. You made it all the way to the end of the video, and for that, I am extremely grateful. Thank you guys so much. I do appreciate you guys. What I need from you now, go ahead and subscribe. That's going to be on this side here. And if you liked this clip, I'm sure you're going to like the entire podcast. It's over an hour long. It's awesome, all right? It's only LA Rams, which is your favorite football team. You can find that right here. Peace. Go Rams.